Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would get a video out, show you some updates, and talk a little bit about names. On the last video, I put out 15 names, 14 of them by other authors on what this particular race over here uh, would be called. So the answers are all in right now, and there is quite a few that made it to the finalists here. So, as in the votes that I tallied up on the YouTube post for the video, number 2, Fanny got 1 vote. Number 4, The Lost got 4 votes. Number 5, Vegas got 3 votes. Number 7, Bladeborn got 4 votes. Number 9, Scar got 6 votes. Number 10, Braxy got 3 votes. Number 12, the Shiftless got 1 vote, and number 13, Dragoon got 1 vote. So in the end, the winner actually is number 9 at 6 votes, and that is Scar. And I feel bad for that because that's the one I made up. But I swear, there's no foul play here. I didn't vote. I don't have accounts. I don't do that stuff, and I was totally cool with any one of the names. So that's why they were there in the end. So 6 votes seems to take it for Scar, Skaar, and although there's a lot of race names that are great, I'm kind of wondering if somehow some of those could be incorporated into things. But anyway, for updates. Granted, I did not work on the Kriel space station since last week. I plan on doing that later today, but what I'm trying to do is save up a longer span of video so I can show more done in one video. Since I can set the speed to really any speed I want, I can have get a lot of work done in actually a fairly short video. It's just I got to have the content there first. So with the first 3 videos I did on it, I worked on it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in that time frame on those videos, and then put out the high-speed video of it, or the time-lapse high-speed type video. But I'll save up more, so when I do put out another video, there's more to see, basically, because they kind of ended abruptly, and that's on my part there. But a lot of it was kind of playing around. I wanted to see how it was going to turn out. Technically, if I really did it right, I would have to just start recording, build an entire thing, which could take, a few weeks at least, depending on the size and whatnot, and then put out a video of the whole thing being built at once. That is the ultimate goal of it. So, although I like to get stuff out when I have it. So, on work that has been done to these, this one here has an interior now, and I have done some more body changes. Very subtle, and I don't know if any of you would really notice much of a difference. I made a couple block changes here and there so I could accommodate some interior stuff, but I also kind of, I don't know, I played with some textures a little bit more, changed some things, changed a little bit of color here and there, but it's very subtle. But I think I was trying to get it to all blend a little bit better, so some of the things didn't stick out quite as badly. But I wanted, of course, that same kind of look of kind of ragged, whatnot, But as an interior, let's go take a walk in the ship. I'll show you where I'm at. Now, I don't have LCDs in place or sensors yet, so that is the deal. Here, I'll go to mood lighting here. I'll show you what it looks like in daytime as well, but let's just go right to nighttime right now. And this took a while. I'm trying to make it fit the bill of what the outside of the ship looks like, and what the race is about, of being kind of scraps and junkers. I've never done that before. Pretty much all my builds have been pretty clean and organized hangars, and think of like the merc ships, or all that kind of stuff. So I'm not used to this style or these textures. In fact, on normal times, I would cringe because my textures here, I know, don't align. I tried to turn them one way or the other to make them look better, but I know they don't align, and I hate that. But if I want to have that look, I don't really have a choice. There's not really anything else I can use for it. That smooth metal just looks too clean, and that's the standard metal I would build all my creations with. So in the hangar, what it has is four 320K standard storage, has one 320K harvest storage, and 80K ammo storage. So it's quite equipped with decent amount of storage. It's not that big of a ship. To be honest, it's a little bit bigger than a starter ship, but it's certainly not near as big as a lot of the other CVs I've done. I'd say it's about the same size interior-wise as like the Carapace C3, about in that realm. So the hangar's got a ton of, just an absolute ton of stuff in it, and it's all over the place in some kind of organized chaos. So to start with over here, you got a couple small constructors, and then your 320K storage bin that these can share, I guess. And you have an advanced constructor. I did something different on this race. I put the instructors up a block and upside down. So you got one on both sides over here, and they're both next to 320K storage. Crammed in offline protection back over here in the corner behind that thing, and then we got our new features too. This will be for A12. So I did not add in a teleporter to the ship yet, but that's coming. We do have the new A12 detector though. Very easy piece to fit. So I'm not so worried about either of these two parts, you know, updating existing ships with. They're small, they're easy to place, not a big problem at all. The ship has 4 generators, although I think that probably is more than it needs. Maybe I'll keep one off because you can power down generators and have like a reserve power or something like that. I don't know. But I've got a couple generators in the back here, so one's behind there and one's on the other side like that over there. Shield I placed up over here. Got some miscellaneous cargo boxes and stuff throughout here as well. Then you got your warp core out in this area. Some cooking stuff I actually placed right underneath one of the constructors over here. A little different approach there. And armor repair, armor locker. I got to put in the actual repair bay, which is no big deal. I do have the console placed already. And then there's 2 elevators, but they're not in the same place that you would normally see. It's kind of weird what I'm doing with the ship. The interior is actually almost completely asymmetrical, but it's hard to tell from the hangar because there are some symmetrical aspects of it, on like a little bit on the front wall over here and some of the positioning of where the constructors and things are. But the ceiling and the walls and the whole what's going on one side versus the other is not the same, and that's throughout the ship. It actually gets a little more asymmetrical as we go through here. So going through this side elevator, which is actually not really probably needed much for gameplay, it's just an alternative way to get around. It gets you up into this second floor, the same as the other elevator. Now there's some weird little things going on here. Start with, okay, here's our way to the back landing ramp, or deck, or pad. Let me get the right word for that. And it comes right down into the small crew area here, which has a couple tables. You got a bathroom and a shower behind these doors over here, and some bunk beds. Now the core is placed back over here behind some stuff, and this is a pretty mostly protected place that would probably be a little harder to get to. I gotta evaluate how many blocks are above it, but from the side and everything in front, there's huge amounts of blocks, and then there's like a floor below it, and it should be a pretty hard place to get the core, especially for like you know, AI. You know, maybe I'll come up with an alternative core place as well. Anyway, back up over here so you got this crew area, and then you got this kind of service hallway, which is kind of weird. Basically, I had all this room. I placed all these parts up in the hangar, and then I'm like, hey, maybe I could make like a little access walkway through some of that. And that's kind of what this is. And then over here, I just went off the deep end and kind of like if you're going to, I don't know, make people walk the plank, although you're not floating them out in space, but you can push them over the edge here. They can fall flat onto the hangar floor from up there. That's, you know, I didn't know what else to do here. I didn't need a bridge going across the hangar for any particular reason, so I just kind of did this. I thought it was funny. Yeah, that's it. That is that part of it. Now, moving on through the ship here, you've got a 36 scroll plot farm, a couple different lanes with switches. And then this goes down to your first person bridge over here. Now, here's where your control switches are going to be for the ship. It does have a drone hatch now, too. That's up over here. I want the drone hatch closer, but with the turrets and stuff I have on the front part of the ship, that just wasn't going to work out. So I got the drone hatch kind of back in the farm area of all places. Kind of not that far from the bridge, though. So the actual bridge is down over here. This is your first-person bridge, sort of mining cockpit. I got a couple passenger seats. I did the texturing a little bit different on this internal bridge area, as in trying to make this look like it was apart from something else, like some kind of almost like airplane kind of thing, like the inside of an airplane. I've been trying to really invent a style that I've just never done before, so this is taking an extra long time, as I figured it probably would. But there is all that stuff. Now, it has a secure bridge, and it is only accessible via this elevator. Now, the secure bridge, I have not detailed or added some LCDs. I actually got some open blocks on the sides, back in some nooks and crannies somewhere out here that are within LCD range, so I can do some things with this. And I need to dress this up. But the secure bridge is packed under, like, it's there's a floor below you, floor above you, a lot of stuff in front of you, all this stuff over here. So it's kind of in a central area of the ship, and all the blocks in this area, including floor and ceiling walls, are also another layer of combat steel. However, now, one thing, I did say I wanted this as a 2-block standard on combat steel for its hull. It's mostly not that, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. I originally planned to do that, but some areas of the ship didn't allow me enough space to do anything with, because I was filling so much in with combat steel blocks that I didn't have much room left. So some areas of the ship are reinforced. Other things, like it has 2 hangar doors on the back of the ship as well. So that is kind of one of those aspects there. And it is a fairly tough ship. The main parts are mostly protected well, generators and core blocks and things like that. A lot of stuff has a lot of protection around it. Most all thrusters have a full row of combat armor around it, or in some cases, like there's some thrusters that are outside on the ceiling here. And on the inside, I guess I just put like these vents. So these would be like some of the weakest things to destroy over here. So it's mixed. It's not entirely like the Nemesis was, or even the Kriel War Carrier. Those had a double layer across the board on their outer hull. But this ship, just plain and simply, is not that big. Both of those ships are quite a bit larger than what this one is. So I didn't want to just kill it and fill in so many areas. I was going to really be struggling for the amount of room that was left. So that's a ship. Now in daytime, nighttime is kind of neat because, you know, obviously you can use lights and things like that. Daytime you see all the rust and things that are going on. I've got some different color in some places, a little bit of dash of red in some sections. Put in some wood grain flooring over here. But it's pretty crude looking as compared to like my normal ship. But you know, I mean, what are you gonna do here? This is supposed to look crude looking. It's supposed to kind of look like the exterior of the ship. So hopefully it feels all right though. Again, it's like one of the things I apologize for. It's the textures. I wouldn't normally use this particular texture, but it looks so good with the theme I was trying to do that I can't really escape it. But when the texture doesn't work, or you get a design pattern on it that doesn't work, there's no alternatives. There's nothing else I can put in its place like I can with the smooth metal to hide the big nasty seam. And that part kind of does bug me. That's why I kind of shifted towards the smooth metal in the first place. Now there is another metal in the, let me get this going here. There's another metal I like a lot too, and I've used it just a little bit in the ship, and that is this one over here. Problem with this metal is the white line syndrome is excessively bad. So all the seams on this texture stick out like a sore thumb if the texture is dark. And that's why I haven't used much of that. I think I still got some miscolored stuff along some places, like these should be a tone up, I think. But like, let's say I take this texture and I put it here. Although I generally like this texture, it's just what I see here with these white lines all over. It just it doesn't work. It works better if you're dealing with like a white texture. Oh, it's not available for that one. Let me undo what I did here. So I try to use a little bit of that texture, and maybe I'll try to get some more of it in places. But again, if I have to use it on something that's colored dark, it doesn't look right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover there. Space carrier. I'm still kind of working on it. I had this. I sent a version, the latest version, to another author to work on for a little bit while I was working on all the other stuff. The other author, though, is very busy at the time. Doesn't really have time to work on it at this moment in time. So I'm going to try to get more and more done on this too. I mean, seriously, it is getting there. Now, one other unfortunate thing too is T-Rex. He built a ship that was designed to dock in this area, and his computer died, and he didn't have a backup of the ship, and he lost the ship completely for this. So there is that aspect of it. I may want to craft some kind of ship that mounts and docks into this front area at some point in time. In fact, this front area is kind of up in the air, and that's why it's not finished here, is because I wanted to set up a ship to actually be able to drive in and interlock its storage container systems right to the inside of the other ship. Now, I've done that before on kind of an experimentation, like on the Hephaestus spaceport with that Transit L2. Same idea as what was going on there. That ship could pull into one of the bays. Internal doors would open up, so you actually gain physical access to the storage containers inside the other structure, and it's airtight. So that is kind of what I would like to see happen here. And it has to be very specific in size, so it fits in here. And I got to make sure that I've got a cockpit that faces the way that you're going to be flying it and landing it, and possibly a cockpit that goes the other direction, so when you take off and go fly elsewhere with it. So it's going to need both of those things. And since it's just a storage ship, it's not a combat ship. It's basically to rev up the amount of storage that's on this thing as an extension of this ship. But it's movable, so you could, bring it down to a planet surface, load it up, fly it back over here, dock it right into this ship, and kind of merge the storage systems together in one way or another. So that is something else. Now, I've got this guy out here spawned again. Now, I haven't done any more work with it since I built the hull on it yet, but as of yesterday, Excalibur's challenge was to build a white box, or untextured model, trying to show block work and stuff and not hide behind textures. So what I'm actually thinking about doing now, since I already have this done, is use this one for that. I'll have to do up the interior on it and get that all ready. But since, I mean, for me, I don't want to release anything to the public workshop that isn't finished. So I would consider like white box, you know, untextured, uncolored, not finished, or decaled, or any of that stuff. So what I would do is finish up the interior on this. I'll get this to Excalibur for the challenge specifically, as in not a public release, and then I will skin it, and then I can release it to the public. Now, again, this was actually meant to be a AI-controlled ship and not necessarily a player ship, because it's lacking core functionality that I would want to have on any CV for a player, and that's it has to do with docking space. It can do everything else, but it just cannot do the docking space because of the design of it. It just didn't leave room, I guess you can say. And I'd like all the stuff with the back. If I wanted to add, especially my standard size hangar door of 5 by 9, I would have to basically make a big square chunk out of the back of it. And then if I wanted a landing pad, I'd have to square all this off, and essentially it would look a lot like the Kriel Shade. And I didn't really want that. So I'll release this anyway to the public as a player gunship. Um, maybe just maybe though, I could incorporate like a spore bay or two on it somewhere. Those are small, don't take up much room, and then you could have something that you could dock to it at least. But I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know if the function of this would be worthwhile. I personally wouldn't want it, you know, to use it in game, because what's it going to do for me besides fly around and shoot some things? You know, I want to store my stuff and whatnot. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But that's probably going to be my challenge entry, I guess. For the for that challenge. That'll save me time, so then I can keep on focusing on all the other projects that I got going on. There's so many of them. As in the Kriel POIs, today, that's another thing. I got to jump in, and I got to tweak some POIs. I got to look over some other POIs. I want to test a couple POIs. So I got a lot of POI stuff to do, and I want to get those uh, wrapped up, and then I, you know, of course, want to get that Kriel space station rolling too. So I'm all over the board on what I'm working on from day to day. I'm just going to try to get as much done as I possibly can here. This ship, however, I think will be the next release that you'll see on the workshop. With the interior the way it is now, I'm lacking LCDs, and I want to create a new LCD design for the race. A little scared of it. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I'm not that experienced with all the coding and stuff, but I'll have to look at some other authors' impressive LCDs out there that just are just crazy on what you can do now. But it's actually like you're almost like doing like a code thing, like you're building a website, sort of. So that's kind of what it's about, and you can, and obviously after you even know it, you could put in a huge amount of time just crafting LCDs. So, and I didn't want to get that sidetracked on LCDs, because you could spend probably weeks trying to make a whole nice new set of LCDs for the different races and stuff, and that takes a lot of time. But I suppose once you build one, then you got it, and then you can reuse it for other things. So that is one aspect of it. Anyway, I guess you all have yourself a good day and good week. I'm gonna try to have videos, quite a few videos, hopefully this week out on progress on all kinds of stuff. I just wanted to show you what's going on here for now, and we'll see how it goes. And again, on the names, I really appreciate it. I almost feel guilty that the one I just picked myself or came up with myself ended up winning, but it was fair. Trust me. There's no foul play, and I didn't care. You know, I would have been fine with any of them, and a lot of them were right up there too, like the Lost and Vegas and Bladeborn and Braxy. All got a bunch of votes. So I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. So anyway, I would probably this upcoming week, and ish, maybe Friday, Saturday, sometime in that, I'm going to try to get the first of this creation out. This is going to involve another thing too, because I'm going to need to make another like Photoshop graphics template for this race. I did that now with the humans, the Kriel, and the MCRN, so I'm going to have to do it with the fourth race here. And of course, while all this is going on, I want to build more things for this particular race too. And I know another author is building something for this race, and it looks really cool too, by the way. Um, Another thing that I completely forgot to mention on the last video was the POI that I ran through, the Kriel Centrum, was rigged, and it took him a long time to do it, getting all that stuff up. It was rigged by Escarli. So he is the guy behind making that just empty building become the POI that it is. So give him a big heads up on that. I understand too. To rig and test the POIs is a time-consuming thing. I guess the more you do it, you probably get better at it, and know how things are going to work out beforehand. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of testing, and I realized that even back when I did the other Kriel POI, that the Kriel Brooder, it just I might have spent like maybe 30, 35 hours building the structure on that one, and then I probably got 20, 25 hours into just trying to rig it and test it. Granted, it was the first, kind of the second POI that I tried to do, and I didn't do anything complicated either. I mean, literally, I just threw in spawn points and pretty much called it good, and then. But like Escarli with the Kriel Centrum-POI, there's traps and this and all kinds of stuff going on, and a logic switch system, and just a bunch of stuff, and it takes a lot of time. So please give him a good heads up on that. He's actually working on his own Kriel POI as well. Also Revenant. He's been working on the other POIs that I have out there. There's 3 other ones besides the Centrum, and the 4th one I still don't have complete on my part. I got to get the insides done, so I'm going to be checking those out too. And I just wanted to say thank you. All this stuff is intended to go directly into the game. So there's a lot of questions on whether the POIs were going to be released to the public. At this point, I'm thinking no, because the logistics. If I put a POI up on the workshop, well, you got to know what to do with that POI, how to get it in your custom scenario in the game. You got to know how to edit the YAML files and all that stuff. I'm not good at it. I can't even tell you necessarily how to do it. I was given a test scenario by Escarli, and that's what I use, because he knows that stuff far better than most any of us do, unless you get into that side of it, making scenarios and things like that, which I have not done. So it's tricky. So I would hate to put up a POI on the workshop and then get a bunch of comments, how do I make this work? Because I guess what I don't want to do is try to tell everybody how to make it work, because I don't even really know how to make it work in the game. That's another whole can of worm, another aspect of things that you can do in this game beyond building unimaginable creations of all different types. You can make like complete scenarios in the game with, like, I think even with A12, even like quest givers, I believe, and dialogue and stuff like that. So there's a whole lot you can do with this game. That is just that is its greatest strength too. It is just the fact that, yeah, look at this. I mean, you think the creators of the game ever imagined with the kind of creations and stuff that you're seeing for it at this point in time, by a whole bunch of authors. So you can kind of almost make your own game out of it to some extent. Obviously you got the core rules that you can't really change too much. Well, you kind of can on servers too. It depends. Some things you can change, other things I'm sure you can't. But Anyway, I'll get off my my little rant here, and you all have yourself a good day. See you later.